Safety is our number one priority.
Safety is our number one priority.
Safety is number one priority.
Safety is our number one priority. Power.
Hello, today we'll be discussing about the hazards of a solar-powered drip irrigation system. Safe workers are loyal workers. Why is safety important? Because it involves the lives of people and their health. The first thing we have to remember is that the aim of good health and safety management is to make sure that people's safety is not put at risk and that their health is not damaged. Remember, attention to health and safety is not just about obeying the law and being socially responsible. It also makes good business sense. So now we will be discussing about the risks and hazards of a drip irrigation system.
Hi guys! Today, we will talk about drip irrigation. But what is drip irrigation? It is a type of a micro-irrigation that has the potential to save the water and the nutrients by allowing the water to drip slowly to the roots of the plants, either from above the soil surface or buried below the surface. The goal is to place water directly into the root zone and minimize the evaporation. Drip irrigation systems distribute water through a network, like valves, pipes, tubing, and emitters, depending on how well designed, installed, maintained, and operated it is. A drip irrigation system can be more efficient than other types of irrigation systems, such as a surface irrigation or sprinkler irrigation. Now, let's watch this short video to learn more about drip irrigation.
Dati pa nagmulmula may no daduma ato ti gaston may panggap ka dagitoy kasla dagitoy insekto.
Di mo pa'y mabawi ta awan nga rubdipin matay mo dagitoy ko wano basik mo dagitoy mapapit mo kalimiti mano-mano tay abutan mi sa amin to Sibugan so kayon sa amin to Timula dayjay Sandya.
Present scenario kasi nagkukulang tayo ngayon ng tubig lalo na sa mga rain-fed areas.
Ang sakdo-sakdo kas kada balde-balde kada gitay yan tiwawaig. Tapos lang kas sakit ag biag dagiti mulmula. May ti programa ti Rice nga dati water harvesting ken drip irrigation.
Sa wala ng tubig na magamit ng farmer, doon na yung time na gagamitin yung tubig na na-store ng water harvesting structure natin.
Dati pan nakapaad dati deposito ti danom nga isot pagalaan mi iti pangpadanom mi kadagiti mulmula mi.
Itong LDIS tinatawag na low-cost drip irrigation system. Low-cost ito in the sense that gumamit tayo ng mga local materials na nabibili na lamang dito sa atin.
Yung treadle pump natin ay kaya niyang punuhin yung isang drum na 200 liters capacity.
Muli la ta ita danom nga ipaypayat mo lang nga amka gasgastar ti gasolina.
Takton ti naitulong na water conservation.
Nanam ay launa itan ta no puligosan dati po sa itong sorsorum lata dati drip irrigation na.
Mas kukunti na lang ang gagamiting tubig. Gawa ng patak-patak na lang.
Mabawasan dayjay panagubrami, mabawasan pa iti gastos.
From sa water harvesting na yung tubig, ilalagay nila sa drum using the treadle pump ay kahit doon na sila magtako-tako kahit hindi na sila mag-iigib sa creek.
Dati, dewan tipil rice, ang kami nga pruning. No dikat, yuray milata nga, bayan milata nga, umado DJ sanga-sanga. Pinagmula kam latan, sinibugan mi. Uray milata nga dumakil.
Nasurok lang 300 square meter lati mulmulaan ide. Itat na natos da tumani 1,000 square meter dati na mulaan.
Nagpruning, yung suro da jay pamayan. Napintas mo dere bunga na kada apit ni. Bitan tag pruning kami kasi pimintas pin di madakkel dahil bunga na.
In sursuro da dati panakapad da dati plastic pulps.
Yung plastic mulch kasi ay nag-control din ng damo.
Dati plastic saan arakan unay ti insekto digiti mulmula mi iso nga an unay nga adu ti gaston mi nga agmulmula.
Pataas pa ang yield na nakukuha doon sa na gamitan ng low-cost drip irrigation system.
Nakatulong ti pang-araw-araw nga pang gastusin iti pamilya. Dapat iti na save no naipong ko sir nga para pang next naman nga panagbumulan sir.
Kadamot sila ganganan siya.
Siyempre no pimintas ti apit maragsakan ti pamilya matata detay sufisyente nga pang detay pang suportam.
Hello, my name is Lawrence Moya. I will be discussing the process of solar-powered irrigation system as shown in the flow chart. First, we have the solar panels absorbing the sunlight as the source of energy. The solar energy goes through a charge controller. The charge controller manages the input energy into the desired amount before being stored up in a battery. The battery powers up a motor to run the submersible pump. Groundwater is pumped out and travels to a reservoir and then to a series of pipes leading to the irrigation fields before finally sprinkling out and watering the field. A simple, low-cost, green process.
Good evening. My name is Vince Dominic Jimenez, a member of Safety is our #1 priority, and I'm gonna report on how solar-powered irrigation works. So, farmers have always played a significant role in our society as they provide the world's population with food.
However, one may forget that only do they provide food, but they also provide energy, which nowadays is of paramount importance, especially as in light of renewable energies. Indeed, farmers can produce energy from the wind, the sun, or the biomass, and they can use it for their own farm. Solar energy might be one of the easiest ways for farmers to produce energy. Most of the farmers usually have several large buildings whose roofs are directly under the sun without being hindered by the shadows of the trees, turning them into an ideal place to settle a photovoltaic system. One of the areas in agriculture that benefits the most of the solar energy is irrigation, especially in arid regions. The pumps used for the transport of the water are equipped with solar cells. The solar energy absorbed by the cells is then converted into electrical energy via a generator, which then feeds an electrical motor driving the pump. Most of the traditional pump systems mainly work with a diesel engine or with a local power grid. Diesel pumps are slightly more efficient than AC-powered pumps as they allow greater flexibility, however, added to a greater impact. However, one of the main constraints is that this system relies on the fuel availability, added to a greater impact on the environment. Diesel-driven pumps are cheaper than solar-powered pumps, but
The operating costs are quite high and depend heavily on the diesel price. Solar pumps are useful where grid electricity is unavailable and alternative sources, in particular wind, do not provide sufficient energy.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
So I will now be explaining the safety around irrigation systems. Irrigation system accidents. There are different types of potential accidents that can cause injury or death when working on or around irrigation systems. This includes electrical contacts or accidents, contacts, entanglements with moving parts, chemical exposures or poisonings, falls from the system, drowning, and physical. This includes the head, eye, ear, hand, and foot accidents. So first would be the irrigation hazard of electrical contacts. Electrical safety concerns related to irrigation systems are important because of the following. Pumps and other equipment operating in a wet or damp environment increases the chance of equipment failure if parts become wet. Personnel working around this equipment are often wet or damp, so their susceptibility to electric shock is greater. And many of these systems may not have had proper maintenance performed on them over the years. This also includes the faulty equipment and wiring installations and maintenance, unsafe work practices, failure to turn off power before working on systems, overhead power lines, irrigation pipe standing on systems, spraying water on overhead lines, and lastly would be lightning. So what is the electrical safety goal? Don't let any part of your body be a path for electricity to flow through you. And how can we avoid this? By using the backhand system. Make it a practice to always lightly brush the back of your hand against any irrigation system, metal structure, or enclosure before grasping with your palm. Grasping an energized metal component will cause your hand to clamp around it. So given from the illustration, the proper way would be the right side, as you can see. So first, he would touch the electric box by using the back of his hand to check if there's any electrical shock or any electrical fuse that can harm you. If so, if there's nothing, then you can easily clamp it or close it by using your hands. The following hazards also include the broken, separated, corroded electrical conduit and the electrical enclosures. Note that openings are unsealed and it is not installed at the required height or mounted to a permanent structure. So these are the following equipment and installation problems. So irrigation hazard, overhead power lines. Irrigation concerns with overhead power lines include lifting aluminum irrigation pipe into overhead power lines, standing on irrigation systems while performing maintenance near overhead power lines. Irrigation hazard, spraying water on power lines. So don't touch irrigation systems while they are spraying water on power lines. So as you can see from the picture, if you touch one of those, you can easily get shocked because of the water touching to those wires can easily electrocute you. So next would be the irrigation hazard, lightning. So stay away from irrigation machines during storms. They can make great lightning rods. So these are examples of electrical disconnects and irrigation machine disconnect. Irrigation hazard, entanglements. Do not approach or work around unguarded power take-off shafts, belts, and other power transmitting devices. Alert others in the vicinity and the owners or operators to the hazard. Avoid wearing loose clothing or long hair in the vicinity of rotating equipment. Be alert to unguarded power take-off shafts, belts, and other power transmitting devices. Replacements and retrofit guards are available from dealers for older machines. So based from the picture, this is an example of an unguarded drive shaft and unguarded belts or spoolie. These are also examples of the irrigation hazard entanglements. Next would be irrigation hazard runovers. Keep vehicles and other equipment off the path of self-propelled machines. Many of these machines have excellent traction and can climb over and crush fairly large objects like cars, pickups, and even small buildings due to their weight. Irrigation hazard, chemical exposure or poisoning. Increased use of fumigation or fertigation through irrigation systems has resulted in increased numbers of chemical exposures and poisonings. Chemical exposures can be through exposure to system water, standing water, crops, or drinking water from systems used for this purpose. And the following dangers that can include in this irrigation system are falls from equipment, drowning, irrigation ponds, high pressure water and or fuel, injuries to hand, eyes, as I said earlier. And the precautionary measures are by using gloves, hard hat, earplugs, safety glasses, proper clothing, and biosecurity. And that's all. Thank you.
Safety is our number one priority.
Safety is our number one priority.
Safety is number one priority.
Safety is our number one priority. Power.